Now, before we get into today's content, I need you guys to cast your votes for me, okay? Because I've been hearing some conflicting talk about Zach Orr. I personally think the Baltimore Ravens should move on. However, I know some people don't think so. Do you think the Ravens should fire Zach Orr? If you do one big favor, like the video. If not, comment down below why you don't think so. Coming up on today's show, I hate to tell you, Ravens fans, but I do not think Zach Orr is going in, unfortunately. Late last night, Tom Pelissero and Ian Rapoport were chopping it up on NFL Network about the Baltimore Ravens coaching situation. They talked about John Harbaugh, basically saying he's secure, and then went on to talk about the changes that might happen in the coordinator position, and they started with Zach Orr. They said, I would not be surprised, Tom, if there were some additions on defense. Nothing wrong with Zach Orr at all. A really bright young coach a lot of people like, but just sort of some reinforcements, maybe on the back end. And I'm just sitting there watching this video, hearing that quote, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This has to be some sort of a joke, right? That is the only explanation. That everybody on NFL Network said, hey, let's come together, let's play a massive prank on Joey Petersen and the entire Ravens fan base. Like, you are telling me the solution for a Ravens defense that just gave up like 300 total yards to the Steelers without DK Metcalf and a 42-year-old quarterback is just to hire more people to help. That's the solution, right? Just like it was with Dean Pease. Zach Orr wasn't cutting it his first couple of weeks. Let's hire Dean Pease. Maybe he can help him out. Okay? Dean Pease did fine with Zach Orr. That defense turned around a little bit. But he wanted to cut back his role a little bit. So let's hire Chuck Pagano, right? Because we can't trust the guy we hired as defensive coordinator to do it on his own. He needs somebody holding his hand. It's not Dean Pease. Let's get Pagano in the building. Wouldn't that be fun? Throwing it back to the Super Bowl years. Like, how many babysitters is it going to take until Baltimore realizes that the child is the issue here? This reminds me of those parents that constantly complain to the school, hey, my kid's teacher is bad in 5th grade. Then they get to 6th grade. Oh, man, another really bad teacher. I can't believe Spanish, math, and English all have really bad teachers for this kid. Maybe if we get another tutor. Maybe if we go next grade and there's going to be a different teacher. Your kid just sucks, okay? He's just poorly behaved. He's bad at school. That's how it is with Zach Orr. Well, maybe if we hire Dean Pease. Maybe if we hire Chuck Pagano. Maybe if we hire another Baltimore Ravens staffer that was in the building during the Super Bowl years, maybe that's what's going to help. It won't. It won't. Coming up next, just wait until they hear about what you said about Monken. Not you, Ian Rapoport said about Monken. Because I think it's even more ridiculous than what he just said about Zach Orr. Maybe not more, but just as. Look, I get it. Todd Monken did not have a perfect season. When I discuss Todd Monken right here, I'm not discussing him like I would have been last year. Right? Last year, Todd Monken, to me, was a massive reason for your team's success. This year, I think he's been a partial reason of your team's lack of success. So after Ian Rapoport praises Zach Orr, young, bright mind, he says, I wonder about the offensive side of the ball. Todd Monken has been one of the better offensive coordinators in the NFL. Certainly got a lot out of Lamar over the last couple of years, but sometimes you need a new voice. If Baltimore decides to move on from a coordinator, and they choose moving on from Todd Monken over Zach Orr, I might have a generational crash. That's a perfect reason to subscribe and turn on your notifications, because if that happens, I promise you, it will be must-see TV. You are not going to want to miss it. Like, it just does not make any sense to me that you can watch the Baltimore Ravens for the last 2 seasons, last year and this year, and you can look at Todd Monken and say maybe they need a new voice. But you can look at Zach freaking Orr and say really bright young coach. Like, what are we doing? It does not make any sense. Just look at these rankings comparatively. Offense is better than defense in every single one of them. And might I add, Lamar Jackson missed 5.5 games this year. And your offense still performed far better than the defense did. Like, whoever is on Zach Orr's PR team, they deserve an award. They deserve a raise. They deserve anything in the world. Because I don't think there's a singular person that is doing their job better than the person who's running Zach Orr's PR. Keeping Orr in Harbaugh and firing Todd Monken would be the worst case scenario. And again, I'm not even fighting for Todd Monken to keep his job. I am just stating, if they decide Zach Orr keeps his and Todd Monken doesn't, then what are we doing? It just feels like there's something more going on behind the scenes. And Pedro Rhomes shares my exact same sentiment. Baltimore Ravens beat writer says, at this point, I think John Harbaugh is a long-term plan for Zach Orr. Steve Bisciotti won't fire Harbaugh, as he will leave on his own terms whenever it's the right time. This suggests that he could be preparing Orr to be the next head coach if he first passes the test as DC. There's no explanation for the preference for Zach. Harbaugh, the players and staff seem to love him. I can't see how this wouldn't apply to the owner as well. He's the homegrown guy after all. Maybe they aren't willing to move on from Orr that quickly because they still see potential. It's confusing. It's frustrating. I don't understand it. And if they were to choose Orr over Monken, I think that would be the first step in the downfall of this franchise. Who would you fire out of those two? Todd Monken or Zach Orr? Give me a TM or a ZO down below in the comment section. Wait with your answer. Give me those initials. We'll be back with some draft talk real quickly. Got to give a big shout out to the sponsor of today's show, our friends over at Ethos. As you know, my wife, Kennedy, and I got married almost 2 years ago. I imagine we'll buy a house, start having kids sometime soon. If something were to happen to me, the last thing I want the people I love to worry about is being able to pay the bills. So I trust Ethos to keep them protected. After watching someone close to me, my father, go through a loss, I saw how quickly grief could turn into financial stress. That experience changed how I think about protecting my family. Life insurance isn't about expecting the worst, but it's about making sure the people you love are supported no matter what. That's why I recommend life insurance through Ethos. You can get your free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That's ethos.com/NFL Daily. Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. Application times may vary, but there's no medical exam. You just answer a few simple health questions. As of March 2025, Business Insider named Ethos the #1 no medical exam instant life insurance provider. And that's because Ethos has 4.8 stars out of 5 on Trustpilot with over 3,000 reviews. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos now by going to ethos.com/NFL Daily. In as little as 10 minutes, you can get your free quote and up to $3 million in coverage at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That's ethos.com/NFL Daily. Ethos.com/NFL Daily. Application times and rates may vary. Let's talk NFL draft. The Baltimore Ravens have the 14th overall pick in the 2026 NFL draft that will take place in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Regardless, here is how Mel Kiper's 2026 big board sits. He has Dante Moore as the #1 prospect, Fernando Mendoza, Jeremiah Love, Orville Reese, offensive tackle Francis Mogawa, keep that name in mind. David Bailey, absolutely love that prospect as well. Jordan Tyson would be interesting if he falls down to 14. Carnell Tate, Mekhi Lemon, I could say the same for them. Caleb Downs, safety prospect. Think he's going to be a really good player in the National Football League. Don't think he's a need for Baltimore right now. Sonny Styles, I would absolutely love that. How about Spencer Fano, Caden McDonald? Don't necessarily love interior defensive linemen, in the first round. Regardless, Keldrick Falk at edge is a name to look out for. How about Vega Ione out of Penn State, offensive guard? I think that's a real possibility, as is Reuben Bain Jr. out of Miami. Keem Mesidor would be very, very interested in that prospect as well. Denzel Boston, wide receiver. Kelly Jones, cornerback out of Mississippi State. He rounds out Kuiper's big board. Look, I think when it comes to this draft, you do one thing in the first 4 rounds. It's trenches, trenches, trenches. Offensive line, defensive line. Okay? I think you could convince me with D tackle, edge rusher, or offensive guard in the first round. I would be happy with any of those. Maybe you sneak in a linebacker here or there and you do something with Roquan Smith. I don't know what that is. Regardless, I think you go trenches and I think you go defense. It's going to be a big draft. They got the 14th pick. Who's your number one target for the Ravens? Let me know down below in the comment section. I am curious. I think my number one target right now is maybe Reuben Bain, maybe David Bailey, maybe Vega Ione. I don't know. I guess I just gave you 3. That'll do it for today's show. Make sure you guys got me followed on socials, Twitter, Instagram. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, okay? If a coordinator change happens, whether it's Orr, whether it's Monken, we'll get you a video as quickly as possible. And if a head coach change happens, please, we'll be live on the channel, okay? So you got to make sure you're subscribed. That way you do not miss a moment. Make sure those notifications on. So that way, when you're hanging out at work, looking to kill some time, you get a notification. We got a video. Click in and be a real one like the rest of us. We'll see you next time.